Okay. Hey, everybody. Hope this is a little bit brighter. Had a little bit of a problem last night. My camera's wobbly right now because it hasn't settled yet. But I'm going to share this on the page real quick and get it over there. There we go. Cool deal. Let me stabilize that a little bit so it quits rocking. And there we go. Cool. All right. It's going to pulse for a minute because I bumped it. But yeah, I'm going to be coloring Groot tonight, and I'm going to be doing this one per request with the pencils because some people have been asking about it. So I just wanted to kind of show how I do this one. And I wanted to make sure I had enough light tonight for you guys to see what's going on. And it's a little bright, so I'm going to cut back just a little bit. There we go. Cool deal. Stabilize that. Now, I'm going to go in here and start the space shading so we can get this thing going. I like to shade out from the middle in to the edges because whenever you use these pencils, they tend to, I like to use straddlers, and I use variations. I use sergeants, I use straddlers, I use Prismacolors, whatever suits the best color for what I use. And then I make a color log or a color key, as it were, so I have those. And these things color really, really solid. I love these. These pencils are particularly forgiving and very smooth. And what I do is I color in with them like you see here, coat everything really good, and then go in as it's finished with all the tones and good stuff going on. I use a Prismacolor blending pencil, and I have one over here. I use the Prismacolor PC 1077. You can buy these at Hobby Lobby. You can buy them online. I buy them by the case, and that way I always have them because I go through these things like crazy. And anyway, I just like the hand-colored nostalgic feel of comics not being done digitally all the time, especially with the Lone Rider Western that I'm doing for Firestorm, because of the fact that I just don't like to have everything wiped out. But anyway, that's the why as to why I do it. But anyway, what I like to do here is I like to use these colors. They coat really smooth, and these Statlers, you can get them in a 24, 36, I think a 24, 36, and 48. And then there's a big 120 something box of them. And I buy the 46, and I buy them at that count because they have particular colors in them that the other boxes don't. Like this gold, matter of fact. And it's let's see, it's a 1270. And it has a golden brown color to it. And it's perfect for drawing Groot and drawing desert western scenes, sand and things like that. And it's got a bunch of other colors in it that I don't normally get from other boxes. So, but like I said, I use anything from Prismacolor all the way out to the cheaper Sergeants, which are like $6 a box, $7 a box average. And I like to mix it up because they cross over. I even use Crayola pencils, believe it or not. I love to use, if I've got heavy primary colors, I love to use Crayolas. They are some of the best for that. The only problem with them is you have to use half of a freaking crayon or a color pencil because of the fact that they're crayon leads in them They're wax leads like just like the Crayola colors. So what you're getting is not saturating as well. So I tend not to use those in that regard because of the fact that they do take a lot of work to get them to go through. I prefer using the Prismacolors for my primaries. But anyway, I've got like 10 boxes of these things, and I use them all the time, and love them. Yes, yes, yes. Very much so. I use them for everything, and anybody that tells you that hand penciling is dead or hand coloring is dead, say phooey. And that's a technical term. And you have my permission. Tell them I said so. If they got a problem with it, they can come talk to me, but they're not gonna. So let them. You know, make it official though. If you're gonna do it, own it. You know, step in and say, okay, this is where I'm at, and this is what I own, and you know, this is my technique. So, and then officially raspberry them and say, bite me. And to my young students, please don't do that. I'm kidding. You will get in trouble with disrespecting adults, so please don't do that. You know better. But you know, I'm kidding. But yeah, it's just crazy, man. Whenever all this is blended down, this looks incredible. So I have no problem. Now, you guys may notice on my timeline, I don't know if you can see them or not, but I can't. Facebook is making changes to the videos, and I've said back since 2-3 years back now that they came out with the live, that they were going to do that, and they were going to switch up one of these days. They're just going to drop a bomb on us, and boom, Facebook videos and live streams are going to be off your profile. And they are still there, but they are restricted under the videos tab now. So if someone doesn't go to your profile and look at the tab, if they didn't view it live at the time that it was posted, it'll rotate off your timeline just like all the rest of your posts. And the bad thing about that is it doesn't hang as long as the rest of it, because they're trying to save bandwidth, and they're trying to force people to use other avenues like pages and things like that, the paid to boost crap. So you know, they're trying to make money. Facebook's trying to make money just like everybody else. So understand, if you are a professional and you use this as a medium to present your artwork and show your content to other people, you may notice that in your timeline in the next couple of days that as we get closer to the new year, things just may vanish, disappear, and they'll still be under the videos tab. Don't get me wrong. They'll still be there under the videos tab because they're not going to delete it. But what they're going to do is they're going to take it out of the live stream so that it doesn't eat up as much bandwidth and doesn't get as much reach. And when you post videos and things like I'm doing right now, if you don't watch it live, you don't get to do that, okay? The purple thank you for the question, Betsy. I appreciate that. The purple blotter behind is so that the card will show up on the camera, for one thing, because I just like to have something dark behind it so it's a canvas for this to show up. Also, this is overlay. This is so I protect my desk, and this is for bleed throughs. You know, this is just for the bleed through. But I do this on every card just to trademark it as something to show up, to guarantee if the lighting should be bad or a card should be too dark and I don't recognize it in time. This kind of boosts that up and, you know, highlights that light. Okay, that's the reason I do that. It's a personal thing for me to mark that it's my stuff and to show that it's lighting. Okay, you know, it's a lighting purpose thing. I do it for showing that you guys can see the card, because sometimes if you put it white on white, it's really intense and it dulls way down. But if I pop this under here, it kind of works as reflective material, so it balances that out. But anyway, that's the point for that. But yeah, you guys may notice that Facebook is making some changes, and if you're doing business through Facebook, understand that it's about to get really social driven, which is fine. But they're about to get just as bad as Google and a couple other places for charging at every expense of everything that you do. So they're going to make you boost your reach, and they're going to drop your profile page where you won't get as much reach because you're using this, and they'll say it's a violation. But for me, I post it from my profile and share it to my page, and if it moves off and gets deleted, or the post gets deleted or it gets moved over to videos, I really don't care. I'm cool with that. But understand, if your stuff starts disappearing and vanishing, you'll know why. That's exactly what is going on. So just understand that and prepare for it, because it's going to happen. It's already started. I mean, they wiped out everything that is a video post under my timeline. It's gone. All my videos are still there, and all my content's still there. They're not deleting it, and they're not removing it, but they are removing the post. Understand that they are removing specifically the post from your profile if you post videos and do it for regular consumption like this, like I do, daily and whatnot. Okay, so just understand that that's going to show up if you start doing a bunch of videos and all your stuff starts disappearing. You'll know why. It's not gone. It's under the videos tab on your profile, but they will definitely start removing it. So it goes off after like 12 or 24 hours according to what support says, but I don't know. I haven't experienced that since they took mine off, so I'll have to see how long this one takes to disappear and go from there. But anyway, but yeah, I have the purple blotter here just so that you guarantee that it's my stuff. I do this on all my art cards since I started, and it's come to be kind of a trademark thing. So I like to use that when I'm coloring, and this specific page right here is what I color on to save damaging the cards from my desk. So that's where it came from. That's what it's about. Got about 20 different colors working in here. That's sarcasm, of course, because it's only like 3. And normally I would highlight this first with some yellow, but I decided not to do that. Instead, I'm going to go with this bright orange as a transition color right in between. Because when Groot's in bright light, he has this really strange orange color to him. However, that's only in the comics, because in the movies he goes gray. They actually dull him down instead of pumping him up. So go figure. I'm laying this in kind of thick, right on the edges of these colors, so that it'll pop just a little bit. And now I'll go back in and put in some highlights with these yellows if it'll show. Yeah, it shows fine. Cool. So I'll put in some yellows here. It's like he doesn't look like wood. He will. I'll add some green to him and a little bit of gray in there, and it'll dull it down really quick. I've also got a dark brown, which I'm going to hit him with too to get the bark down. Now all the little kids be, don't hit him. I'm going in here kind of a reddish brown on some of the darker areas to slim those down before I hit them with gray, and really, really tone that down a lot and make it take on that Groot look. Okay. I'm going to keep everything really smooth here. They're blending really well. I love these these pencils because they blend really, really well, and they don't mud up like some of the others do. I mean, if you did the same thing with map colors, it would seriously, drastically bite into this. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the browns that I've been doing right up here, and I'm going to kind of dull them down just a little with this gray right before I go in with the deep brown. And that's just going to give us that grayish green bark kind of color that we know of Groot. Okay, it's just going to kind of darken it up just a little bit. And see, you can already see it starting to change. Okay. A lot of people are like, you mix a lot of gray into your stuff, man. Well, I want to mute the colors and make them properly show up for you guys. Okay. Now you'll start to see that starting to tone out like bark and darken down just a little bit to where it's starting to look a little more like Groot. Okay. That's a gray effect, and a lot of people don't know that. They shadow that brown down, and it instantly makes it look like dark bark. So I always love these cool effects because, I mean, it's a cosmetic feature, but the thing is, it's friggin' awesome the way those little subtle changes like that, those little tricks, will make things just pop off and totally change the dynamic and look. Now, if the reason I brought up the Facebook video thing is one, to give you a heads up. Two, if Facebook should, for any reason, stop my videos, I will be posting them. First off, I will be posting them through Facebook Live. This way I will continue, and if they rotate them off, they're under my videos on my profile and on my page. But if they should remove them for any reason or make me stop, disable my live, what I will do is I will go to my YouTube channel and use the live stream there for the daily show, and I will come on, post, and post a non-video post and tell everybody when it's going to be and send a link to it so that you guys can go and watch over there as you do here on Facebook, and you'll be able to watch live the same way just by clicking the link when the time comes. And I'll be sure to be accurately on right as I deliver that so that you'll be able to catch it. And that'll prevent that problem. So that way we won't need any boost or anything like that or whatever. And I'm not being cheap about it or anything or, weird about it. It's fine that they got to make money. I understand that. But they don't have to make money off of free content, I mean, I do this for free every day. And it's about being with you guys and showing what's going on. And they want to make it weird. Oh. I knocked one off. Okay, I'm going to get green in here. There we go. Cool deal. Yeah, that came out way better than I thought it was going to. Gotta grab a dark green here. Yeah, see, there's a Crayola right there. And the cool thing about Crayola is it smooths down really easy, but like I said, the color's not quite as rich as some of the others. That just happened to be the one I have over here on the table. And now I don't know if this one's going to be dark enough or not. That's too red. That'll go for the soup. There we go. Cool. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Now here comes that dark brown I was talking about. And like I said, the same spot. It's not going to muddy it up like most people think it would. What it does is it guides everything in and brings it back together so that you have that woody, marshy looking Groot, brown gray kind of thing going on. I'm following the path of the dark browns and the grays here. And I know I don't have much of a tip on this one, but still doing the job, so we're good. I use, this is a regular index card. That's why it's bowing. These are regular 3x5 blanks. And I use these sketch cards because of the fact that they're durable and forgiving to all kinds of mediums and all kinds of content. And then what I do is I press them out. I press them out flat. But because I do these every day, you know, it would be a little costly to use blanks, you know, actual drawing blanks every day. These are standard cards here, and what I do is to prevent them from rippling like this, even though they ripple with the colors. What I like to do is I like to press them overnight. I put them on clean slate and then press them out, and I have blocks that I use for that, and it matches them straight out flat. You know, a lot of people say to reverse roll them like this, but I prefer not to do that because of the fact that it ends up bubbling the card eventually. But yeah, when they get delivered, and you know, when people buy them and stuff, or buy into the sketchbook, you know, or donations or whatever, whenever they go out after January, whenever they start to go as rewards for the Kickstarter or the sketchbook or whatever campaign you buy onto, they always get pressed out. I do that with my canvases as well, though, because of the fact that Copics are really bad about warping card canvases. So I'm very careful about that. But yeah, they frame up really, really solid. And then, like I said, they go flat and they're fine. But I get asked about that all the time. Thank you for asking. I appreciate that. But, you know, since I've done, oh, Lord, almost 250 of these things, it's gotten a little intense, you know? Okay. Before I do his teeth, which are this strange gray color, I'm going to flesh out this Ravager suit here. I always tend to bow these things because I'm really heavy-handed. So, but yep, they flatten out very nicely. But see, if I used, if I'd have done this with the Boba Fett that I did a while back, it would have ruined it. That's why I drew that as a big platform card, as an actual pinup, you know, instead of drawing on one of these. Because if I'd have drawn that on this material, it wouldn't have held up. Because I put, I don't know, so many layers on that thing of colors, you know, markers, Copics, a little bit of whitewash, just everything on that board. And these little cards just don't hold up to that, so I wouldn't use heavy material like that. But they do hold up for what I do with these sketch cards. And see, this is a base coat, so I'm kind of layering it on here. That's why I'm able to go outside the lines, because it's all one suit, and the definition doesn't come in really till the gray goes on. So I don't mind, because a lot of people are like, "You're coloring outside the lines." It's okay. It's okay. And then when I smooth this out, it'll go completely down, so that won't matter. Because I like to let the color set, even though it's a wax or you know, a colored pencil or whatever it is. I always like to let my art set before I finish it with the smudge pencils, because you know, the blenders, because of the fact that I don't want to just overwork the card. I give it some time to rest, and it's mainly because of the material that I'm drawing on, the canvas, not as much as the content medium that I'm doing. You know, the colors themselves, because it doesn't really make any difference. It doesn't change them. I just like to give the card a rest, because this is a lot of friction to put on a material, especially at this speed. You know, you go in and put a lot of heavy coloring in on these things, you'll wear them out. I get that a lot. It's not a problem for me, but I hear it a lot, because that's what makes it bow. It's either moisture or friction. One or the other will make the stock bow. You know, and being in art, printing, publication, all that stuff for so many years, you know, it's old school, old hat to me to learn that stuff. Yep. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Now I'm going in here with the brown, the light brown from before. It's got kind of a, I don't know, kind of a light chocolate or a dark caramel color. I like to go over these Ravager suits with it when I draw them. I know it makes it a little bit darker than what most people would want, but I like to draw it because it just makes it have a rich pop, and it fills in all those pores that's not, you know, that aren't working as effectively. And it contrasts very nice to Groot to pull down the whole image so that he looks solid, and I like that. I did the same thing with Elektra, but yet I used Copics on her, and it was all about the blend. Which Copics are very forgiving, but I'll tell you, if you haven't ever used Copics before, Copics are very forgiving as a marker, but be careful with their blender, because their blender is vicious. It'll mute everything. It's like going across Photoshop and using the smudge tool, and you know how it automatically adjusts for itself in the smudge. It'll do the same thing with the markers. You know, the markers will do the same thing. That blender will overcompensate if you have the Copic blender. Be very careful with that, because you'll pay dearly for overcompensating with that thing. I've done it many times, and it's like, man, then you have to go back in and let it dry overnight, and it takes about 12 hours for it to set up to where it won't resaturate or rehydrate the blender fluid and make it reblend or water down the colors that you're adding on top. So be careful and let those set at least 4 to 6 hours, and test a small spot. If you don't, they will resaturate and rehydrate that ink spot, and then what will happen is it'll blister, and it'll look like you threw water on it. It'll just blister out. It'll make this starburst, and it'll be so bad. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm telling you firsthand, you'll ruin a piece quicker than anything doing that. But you know, these colors here, these pencils, work well together. I mean, it just depends, you know. I rarely ever hit muddy colors with them, And even though I'm mixing brands, I never have an issue with them. Of course, it's probably because I'm not afraid to just get in there and use them and make them work for me. You know what I mean? So that's one thing I don't have a fear of, is getting in there and making them work. And it always helps, and it doesn't even really matter which direction you go. It's not like coloring a coloring book, okay? Coloring these pieces solid is not like coloring a coloring book at all. It's not about going one direction and making the strokes work for you. It's about saturating the entire image and making the color work for you. See? Very cool. Now, I'm going to grab, is this the one I want? Oh, which one? Which one? Yeah. There we go. Cool. Sorry about that. I had to grab the right one here. Okay. Here is my super dark brown, which I'm going to go in on Groot here. I wanted to give those colors a little bit of time to rest, a little bit of hard workout with all that layering, and I just wanted to kind of go in and bring it up a little bit. I don't have much of a point on that one. I may have to sharpen it. There we go. Cool. Now we're getting it. For active expediency here, I'm trying to blend with what I've got rather than sharpening them down. I should have sharpened them all before I started the project, but that's okay. We're getting what we need done. And I like this one because it works kind of like I don't know, it's kind of an overcoat without oversaturating and, like blackening it out or anything. It doesn't come on too strong, but it's a really, really dark brown. I mean, I could sit here and work it in, and then it would really, really get dark, but I don't want it to. I mean, it would like get the movie tone kind of brown, and that's just too dark for this one. I want it to be bright, and I want it to be an animated or comic book style. So I want it to be very open and clean and not too washed out. Because, the problem with Groot is people color him like you would, they color him, oh, thank you very much, I appreciate it. Thank you for saying so. Betsy just said that, that he's adorable. I appreciate it, thank you. The reason I try not to do too much and I keep these lighter hues in here is because of the fact that like I said, I practice rules of animation so that I can get false light put in and make it pop up a lot more. And these cards are very forgiving in that regard. So, a lot of this stuff is a little weird sometimes, and you can really overwork this stuff and make it muddy, and people try to get that movie look and they wash it out instead of highlight it. And that's not what you want to do. You don't want to do that. You want to build it up and not break it down. You want to accent. Now, what I'm going over this with is an actual black from Stadler, and I like to use it really light, and it adds in that reverse gray effect, what I call the reverse gray effect, which is to wash it in just those tones for the texture to make it pop. Now, when I get done and get off this thing here, it's going to pull that up. So all the highlight layers that I've been putting in the whole time are going to just jump up, and that's what you want. But you got to be careful and put this in the middle of all your darks. And now, see, boom, there he is. Now I'm going to go in with with this particular golden brown again and doing his teeth. And now he has a really cool gray hue over them. I don't know why that is, but he has this great gray hue on his teeth. And a lot of people miss it because they're like, that's just a dark brown. No. It's a wood color, but it's gray. I mean, he almost has black teeth in the way that you can't see what's going on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this line right here for the ridge, and you'll see the ridge of the teeth come up as I start to work that in. See, now he's got three-dimensional teeth, and then what you do is you go on one side, halfway down to the center teeth, and then you switch out. And that gives it that false dimension to where he looks like he's smiling at you. So put this underlid a little darker. And there you go. We have Groot. Hope you guys dig it. Thanks for hanging out with me. And I am going to get this going on. What is the blender fluid? Thanks, Phil. The blender fluid, man, is the blender fluid is just an alcohol-based blender. Okay, I know it depends on the service. You can't really say what's in there because of the fact that they're proprietary, and each company uses them different ways. Okay, each marker company makes them in different ways, and that's why if you use like an Artist Loft on a Prismacolor or a Copic, it'll eat you alive and it'll just wash it out. I've seen it suck up half a marker and just tear it up. It's an alcohol-based thinner is what it is, because what it does is it rehydrates the colors as you tap them. If you rehydrate, say, Copics, if you take it and color that, and then you go in with a marker and you tap it, it's going to rehydrate that, and it's going to blend them back together when it dries. That's what a Copic will do. A Copic blender will go in and wet those colors and take them and mix them together, okay, and stir them up. Now, Artist Loft brand is more of a thinner to where it'll wash it out and make it whitewash or separate. And that's good for grayscaling if you have blacks, but be very careful with it because it'll eat your color right off. Prismacolor, same thing as Copics, except you got to be very careful with them because they'll bleed and you'll get oversaturation and it'll wash your color out and blend it together and turn it to mud. But I like using the Copics the best as far as blenders go, or using Prismacolor pencils, because this is just a clear wax. I don't know if you guys can see this or not on the end. It's just a clear wax. Let me grab one that I've got sharpened here so you can see. It's just a white wax, and as you go in, it swirls the colors around. You know, as you go back and forth over it, it mixes those colors around and scrubs them back and forth and mixes the layers. So that's why you get the blending. And it also smooths them down. Now, as far as Betsy's question, you know, I do go back and I do go back with the inks, depending on where it goes. For this sketch card, it sucks up inks. So what I end up doing is I go back over after it colors. I color it in. It tends to show these little pixelations and these little peeps that missed, like this, you know, in the gradation. And that's where I use the smaller tip pins. But I'll actually, because it's I'll do one right now, matter of fact. Because it's sketch cards, I would never do this on a professional piece. I would use a broad tip black marker or Copic or maybe even a brush. But because it's these sketch cards, I tend to use, I tend to go back over them with the big blacks and use a Sharpie, just a big Sharpie blunt. Now, these markers are the big, thick blunts, but they have fine tips, they have medium tips, and they have large tips. I like to use the fine because it just has a little more control to it and a little better flow of the ink, where the mediums tend to bleed. And I know it's not the best ink in the world, but like I said, with these sketch cards, these are for training purposes, and I just happen to be adding them to the sketchbook so you guys can get them as bonuses and stuff. And I started to give them away as, you know, rewards and whatnot for the upcoming January Kickstarter. And you know, I've been using better material on them because of that. But for primary purposes, I just black out these big blacks with, you know, whatever. I sometimes I use Copics, sometimes I use these Sharpies. This is just affordable because I do this every day. And I don't want to use up all my comic supplies for my, you know, I want to use those on my comics. But this was just an affordable way to do it. And see, that's a lot better because now when it dries, it'll clean up. So I do go back and saturate the big black inks. No problem there. I go in and get those too. But that was just an example to show you what I do. Yes, I do pop out the inks. I appreciate you stopping by. I'm on every day. You can find me on Facebook. You can search my name, Brad Linder, on YouTube, and I'm the first guy to pop up there. You'll see my same profile picture from Facebook, and you can check out my videos there. I'm going to be posting over 200 videos this week to YouTube that I've been doing every day here, and a lot of my YouTube fans have been griping because of the fact that I haven't kept up with the channel quite as much, and they've had to watch me on Facebook. So now that Facebook's done this new transition where they're dropping videos, I'm going to have to move and put back on, you know, and start editing those. And I've got about 200 to go on. So if you want to check them out, check them out. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. And like I said, post any of the questions in my timeline where the images are posted, and I'll be sure to answer them as I see them. And if I didn't answer your question here, I apologize because I've been watching the screen back and forth. You know, like I missed one from Phil and he tapped if this thing is on. Goofball. But hey, it's cool, buddy. I appreciate it, man. Thanks. But yeah, just check it out and see how this stuff works for you. You know, test different mediums and things. But as far as these pencils go, I'm going to let these sit for probably about 6 or 7 hours, and then I'll come back tonight and get back in with these and go over this one with this wax and smooth it out. It blends it together so fine that it's print worthy. If I was to print it like this, it would be horrible. It would be very, very generic and look colored. But if I toned it down and through the blender, what it does is it washes it all together to where it's print worthy, and it's like having it color processed digitally. So you get a great solid reprintable reproduction, and it doesn't have to worry about, you know, you don't have to worry about all that garbage going on with it looking colored. That's what that's for. But anyway, you guys have been great. Thank you very much. You know, I did you, Betsy? Let me ask you a question if you're still on. Did you, when you say that you you know, you got to be very careful with that when you use markers. Are you saying that you didn't you have a problem with textured papers as far as the stuff you're using, or this? I mean, this penetrated the paper. This will penetrate. This will go through. I try not to bleed them through because it makes the cards warp permanently. And I'm very light-handed with the heavy blacks because of that right there, and because I go back over and saturate them. Yeah, the colored pencils, I like them going through, and they do penetrate the paper. But after you get so many layers on here, you're just basically blending on wax. You're blending the pencil on one for the base layer, and then you're building on that, and it stacks. I mean, if I took my finger, you can see that glaze. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you see that glaze? If I go on right now and I take my thumbnail and just go rake across this, I'll scratch it right down to the card. Now, I mean, that's the way it is. But that's part of what the blender's for, because it files all that extra off. And let me see. I don't have it sharpened down. Let me see if I can clean a spot here real quick, and I'll do just a little bit to show before we go here. See, that's clean and smooth right there. And in between colors, by the way, buff the tip off, or else you'll smudge those colors into the color. Don't do that. So I'll blend this spot right here, and you'll see the extra come off as it comes through, but it'll stay strong and it'll blend it down. It'll work the color in, and it'll blend it down smooth. Okay, now that looks gnarly, right? on just that one spot that looks really rough. But watch this. When you go in and cut all that off, I got to make sure I don't hit the wood edge. You make a circling motion and it'll blend it all down. And then you can take it and buff all that off. And if it sticks like that, what I like to do is use the end and just scratch that right off. Because it scratches it right up. And see, that's the Crayola doing that. But I have to clean it up now. But anyway, it caked it on there. Bad example because I used the Crayola to brown it. But it'll blend together. You just have to go in and work it. And now, like I said, I'll have to go in and scrape that off where it caked right there. Yeah, it's stacking. Now I'll go in with an eraser and get that off there. Because that one, I didn't think about that when I used the Crayola on it. And I do not want that in there. So now what I'll do is I have to go in and correct it. Which I've heard about that, but you know what? I'll tell you something funny. I've never seen that happen to a card. That's a live experience right there, folks. I have never seen one do that. But you hear about it all the time. So I'm going to grab my blender here. Let's see if I can go back in and wash that over. Because now I may have to erase that. But yeah, it's going to do it on every color, so I'll have to be very careful. That was interesting. Because it blocks it off and makes it smudge free. And now this one particular color is going to clot right there. I've never seen that. Now I'll have to go in and correct him. But that's cool though, because in any other time it would have worked. And like I said, I can go in and erase that and fix it. But doing these colors right here, I'll do these light colors so I don't smudge it out. Because everybody's going to be like, you're messing it up. No, I'm not. I can clean that off. That's no big deal. That does not bother me a bit. Because I've heard about it, but I've never seen it. But anyway, I'll blend them in and get that cleaned off and go in and erase them now. Because like I said, that's going to take forever to carve that off. I'm going to mark this spot here so I know where that blotched. And I'll get that to clean off. But anyway, yeah, they do blend really well when they're not marked with Crayolas. I shouldn't have used the Crayola on there because that marked it up like I've never seen before. That was strange. But anyway, you guys get the gist of it. I'm not going to terrorize that card anymore. I'm going to go fix that. And like I said, that's the reason I love doing this, because doing it live is so cool because you learn so many different techniques and stuff, and I'm all right with it. Now it's just going to bother me till I erase it off and get it off there. But anyway, there it goes. I just don't want to eat through the card. There we go. Cool deal. See, I've had that happen to other people I know, but it's never happened to me personally until just now. But I know how to fix it though, because you can erase it because it's pencil. See, now I can go back in and fix that where it was messing up. I blame Phil. Yeah, there we go. Now it's got a little bit of a weird texture to it, but it'll work out because I'll get the other smudge tool and smudge it down. But anyway, yeah, I'm glad you guys checked it out and had fun with it. And you know, this is live art. I don't feel bad about this at all. I can go in. I'll go in and recolor, strip it and recolor it. But anyway, I hope you guys had fun with it. And you know, this is life, man. This is art. This is what happens when we do this. It happens. And anyway, do you spray a fix it? No, I don't, because when you blend with this, I don't have to spray, because when you blend with this, it adds that wax coat on top of it, and you don't have to, and it holds the sheen. It does not bleed off. It's never bled off once I've sealed it with this blender. So, however, like I said, that munching down that spot's kind of concerning, but it is what it is. Anyway, I thank you guys so much for hanging out with me, and I'm gonna go repair this after a while. I'm gonna take a break, and then I'm gonna come back and repair this thing. Anyway, on to the next one for tomorrow. As long as Facebook holds up with me, I have, who do I have? I have the Hobgoblin on for the next coloring session for tomorrow. I have to erase that and let it sit for the night, and then touch up the inks, and we will go from there. So thanks again, and if you have any questions, post them, and we'll go from there. But yeah, you're welcome. I appreciate it. Thank you.